Good afternoon. It's Jim Platt here. Privileged to talk to you this afternoon. I want to talk to you about something that's really on my heart, something that's really on my mind, something that God is really impressing upon me. If you had the opportunity to hear my sermon over New Year's, you'll know that God has really been teaching me the importance of being able to tell your story. We all have a story. It may be the story of our conversion. It may be the story of a way God has sustained our lives. It may be something God has taught us along the way. But I think that it's absolutely vitally important that we are prepared, we are equipped, and we are passionate about telling our story. 1 Peter 3:15 says to be prepared to give a defense for the faith that is in you. We should be prepared at any juncture, at any nexus, to be willing to tell what God has done in our lives. I can think of at least two very practical payoffs for that right off the bat. Number one, we all have downtimes. We all have valleys in our lives. Being able to reflect upon our stories, being able to reflect what God has already done in our lives is an incredible way of resustaining ourselves or reamping ourselves during those difficult and down times. But secondly, being able to prepare to articulate and starting to articulate your story is a great way to bring other people to Christ. When people look at you and they see something different about you, are you able to respond and say, yeah, there is something different about me, and this is what it is? If this is something you're uncomfortable about, there are ways, there are things that you can do that can help prepare you in order to tell your story. There's a great book by Dan Allender called To Be Told. It comes in a book form and also comes in a workbook. And it's designed to help you reflect upon your story and to tell your story, but also to give you an active role in shaping your story going forward. This is very important. Are we just participants? Are we just riding along in the story that is our lives? Or are we passionately involved in what God has for us? So story is central, front and central, in my mind, to everything that we do. As many of you know, I went through a health crisis late last year. And that story has just catapulted me to just a new dimension in what I do. It's underscored the urgency of what I do. I don't know how long God's going to keep me on this planet, but for as long as I'm here, I'm going to be willing to tell my story, and I'm going to be excited every chance I get to tell about it, because every chance I get to tell this story, somebody may hear it for the first time, and somebody may be moved to at least think. I think of the story of Paul in Acts chapter 17, where he's with the Athenians, the Epicurean and Stoic philosophers. And it says he talked to them, he reasoned with them. Some of them believed. Some of them walked away, probably in utter disgust. And others said, we'll hear you another day. We'll hear what you have to say another day. You see, we may not always be prepared and be in the position that we get to harvest the crop. But with our story, we have the opportunity to at least water, fertilize, or nurture these growing plants that God is growing up for His kingdom. So thanks for the chance to talk to you today. I hope this empowers you, encourages you, in order to be willing to tell your very individual, very personal story.